What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Alvin Mike, and welcome to my channel. Now I say welcome because for a lot of you this is the first time seeing my channel, in which case, hey, welcome. If there's anything interesting happening in sports and there's an opinion to be had on it, I'm gonna drop it. I will try and keep it short and sweet, but hey, it depends on how much of a rant I get into. Now if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button, and as you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn post notifications on. But the focus of today's video happens to be the Phoenix Suns. More than anything, it happens to be the news that's coming out of Phoenix that the Suns are intending on moving both Jusuf Nurkić and Bradley Beal to the bench. Now, I believe this is a move by the Suns to firstly try and improve their offensive flexibility in the starting lineup, whilst at the same time improving the firepower of their bench. Because as we know on the season, Bradley Beal is currently averaging about 17.8 points, 3.7 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 1.2 steals and 0.7 blocks per game. Meaning that moving him to the bench should improve the bench scoring by approximately 15 to 20 points on average per game, and at the same time allow a little bit more flexibility for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who happen to be the leading scorers on the team, with KD averaging stats over the season of 27.6 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 4.0 assists, and Devin Booker at 24.6, 3.8 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. Now, this move by me is a sign of a team that's in desperate mode, which makes a whole lot of sense because if you think about it, the Phoenix Suns season this year has been highly unimpressive. If anything, it's been disgusting. They're 15-18 on the season. The only teams they sit above at the current moment are, in order, the New Orleans Pelicans, who are a dying situation, trying to move on from Brandon Ingram, dealing with the issues of Zion Williamson never being healthy. The Utah Jazz, who are a young team who's in a rebuilding state and has been for quite a bit, to the point whereby they've willingly let it be known that their superstar Lauri Markkanen is on the market. And the Portland Trail Blazers, who haven't yet bounced back from the situation of moving on from Damian Lillard, because again, he was the team, and as we can see, without him, the team is not in a great place. Obviously, they do have a great young core that should develop over time, but again, that's a bad situation. And then in 12th place, we have the Phoenix Suns, who have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, a team you'd not expect to be that far down. If anything, you'd expect them to be higher. Now, obviously, at the beginning of the season, the Suns did get off to a good start, with it being that majority of their losses, I say majority, a good chunk of their losses have come within the last 10 games, as over the last 10, they are 3-7, with their most recent win coming on the 26th of December against the Denver Nuggets, which I believe was mainly due to the fact that 2 days prior on Christmas Eve, they did play the Nuggets where they lost by 27 points, and this was more a thing of fighting for your pride and not trying to lose to a team in back-to-back games, as you just played them 2 days prior, so there's no way you're going to let them beat you at home 2 days later. But the situation in Phoenix is really dire, and it's reached a point whereby rather than moving players to the bench, players need to get traded. Now obviously the trade deadline is coming up next month, in which case if they do want to make a move for players, they need to do it now. And the real reason why I say players need to get traded is Devin Booker is the heartbeat of Phoenix. Like, I used to hate on Devin Booker like a madman because I used to say he's a bunch of useless points, but I willingly admit he won me over, especially at the Olympics. I'm not from the US, but I'm a big Team USA fan, and Devin Booker won me over. And he's willingly shown defensively and offensively he's a really good player, in which case, and he's 28 years old, meaning he is currently at the beginning of his prime, in which case you really want to build around him. So he has to stay on the team, but the likes of Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, a decision needs to be made. You either move on from an aging Kevin Durant who's 36 years old, don't get it twisted, he's still producing at a high level. As I said, he leads the team in points, blocks, and is one of the top tier rebounders whilst also being one of the top tier assisters on the team, so it's hard to move on from him. But he is 36 years old, meaning even though we're seeing LeBron play till 40, I think a bunch of people can willingly admit he's producing numbers, but how useful are the numbers? The same thing might apply to Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal, the reason to move on from him might be, you say, if we keep Bradley Beal, the team will be a bit undersized because, again, either him or Devin Booker will have to run the four, meaning you have about two. I believe both of them are no taller than like 6'5". I believe both are about 6'4". I believe Devin Booker's about 6'4" and Bradley Beal's about 6'3", which would make you a bit undersized, but we have seen undersized teams run before and be able to do it. The Warriors did try and do it, and it worked with Clay and Steph, but then obviously Harrison Barnes was about 6'7", 6'8", and Kevin Durant was about 7 feet tall, so it might not work there. But the key reason to keep Bradley Beal, he is 31 years old, meaning he's got a much longer prime than Kevin Durant has remaining, and we do know he is a high volume scorer, so in which case he can be a two-punch combo when it comes to him and Devin Booker. So when it comes to those two, one of them has to go because, again, it won't work with all three. I know I was one of the people that said Luka and Kyrie would never work. It worked. I was one of the people that said Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum might never work. It worked. But in this situation, I can stand my ground and tell you this will not work. And the reason I stand by that is last year we saw these three try and run it for the first time, where we saw Devin Booker play the point guard position, which never worked out because, again, he's too much of a score first guard, in which case him playing point never makes too much sense. And the Suns made a great decision and went out and sought after Tyus Jones, who at his time in Memphis and his time in Washington, we were able to see that he's a floor general who can get the ball moving around the floor and get an offense going at a high point. And this season, he's proven to do the same, averaging about 12.6 points per game with 2.6 rebounds and 6.3 assists a game, while shooting about 49% from the field and 43% from the three-point line, indicating Tyus Jones is doing everything that was expected of him. So this team should have improved, but again, we're not seeing improvements. If anything, we're seeing a decline, which I believe is firstly supported by the fact that you can't have all three of these guys on the same team, which is why you're moving Bradley Beal to the bench in hopes that A, he should be happy with it, which I guarantee he most likely won't. And two, you need to move on from Jusuf Nurkić. The reason I say this is Jusuf Nurkić is he's a decent role player coming off a bench. He should not be the starting center on a team like this. He currently averages about 8.8 points and 9.5 rebounds, which does, points-wise, is really good on his production, but the rebounds are significantly low because if you think about it, this team currently rebounds about 43 rebounds per game, with Kevin Durant averaging a good majority of your rebounds should come from the 5 position, meaning your starting and backup center should grab quite a few. And if we look at it, Mason Plumlee, who's meant to be the backup center, averaging just about 7 minutes less than Jusuf Nurkić, rebounds just about 3 rebounds less than Jusuf Nurkić, which is quite disturbing because when you think about it, Jusuf Nurkić is a 7-foot tall he's a 7-foot tall center who mainly hangs around the paint, with the likes of Kevin Durant mainly hang around the mid and 3-point line, meaning the rebounds should fall to him quite a bit. And the fact that he's averaging only 9.5 is bad. It's not horrific, but it's bad. And then the fact that he's averaging about 0.7 blocks when he's the one who's meant to hang around the rim, that's the shocking side of it, where Jusuf Nurkić is not solid enough defensively or rebounding wise for it to make sense to keep him on the team. So if I'm the team, first things first, you got to trade Jusuf Nurkić. That's a definite trade that needs to happen. You could easily move Mason Plumlee into the starting lineup as your starting center because he has proven himself to be capable of doing so, averaging about 0.8 blocks per game with 0.3 steals, meaning defensively he is quite sound. And from every time we've seen Mason Plumlee on the floor, he has shown he has the ability to play, and he is willing to not be the guy on offense, i.e. he's willing to just rebound, defend, and keep it going. But you need to move on from Jusuf Nurkić, and you need to make a move to move on from either Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal, because yeah, it's getting quite shocking. Grayson Allen needs to get moved on to as well, because we saw that one great season which led to an extension for him where he was shooting about leading the league when it came to 3-point shooting percentage, but ever since then he's currently shooting, I believe, around 34% on the season. Let me double check my numbers. Yeah, he's shooting at the current moment, not 34, 37.9%, which is still a good percentage, but when you're meant to be a scorer that comes off the bench with being a volume 3-point shooter more than anything, you should be shooting a lot better than this, as on the season he does average just under 6 threes a game, when last season he shot 46%. This season he's shooting 38, which means it's a significant decline to the point whereby moving on from Grayson Allen also makes a lot more sense. Royce O'Neal, Josh Okogie, Ryan Dunn, Monte Morris, those guys deserve to stay. Bol is another person that the team should definitely look into moving on from, because at this point, this experiment has been tried for approximately 5 years. He's been in Phoenix and nothing's I say he's been in Phoenix for 5 years. He hasn't been in Phoenix for 5. He's been in Phoenix for the past 2, and nothing really has come from it, in which case it's time for the Phoenix Suns to move on. So yeah, I just wanted to say the Phoenix Suns moving Bradley Beal and Jusuf Nurkić to the bench won't stop the bleeding. The best thing to do is, before the trade deadline, get rid of either Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal and getting another Robin to play alongside, and then definitely get rid of Jusuf Nurkić and Grayson Allen, because there's a lot better 3-point shooters out there that you could possibly get in replacement of Grayson Allen. And when it comes to Jusuf Nurkić, you could probably get quite a few better centers that can rebound a lot better and obviously play a lot more defense. But yeah, it's been your boy Alvin Mike. This was my quick take on the whole Suns trying to fix the situation that's just going terribly. Let's see what happens next. For those of you that are wondering, I'm a Miami Heat fan. The season's going terrible. Jimmy should go. Let's be free. I'll catch you in a bit. Deuces.